Sorry, say it again.
Can she perform makeup fast?
Can she do? Yes, she can. Yeah. If you're an istihada, mashallah, good question. You can do makeup fasts. You can do makeup salah as well, right? Because you are technically in the state of istihada, you're technically considered to be pure. Okay? And tohar means the bleeding that's in between two menstrual bleedings. All right. How do you calculate? Remember, girls, the way you calculate is hourly. Okay? Hourly. So, for example, somebody starts their period at Monday 4 p.m., then Tuesday 4 p.m., that's when we say it's 1 day and 1 night. A lot of times people don't know this, right? What they will do is they will say, okay, I started my period at 4 p.m. Monday, and Tuesday 4 p.m. is 2 days. That's incorrect, right? Tuesday 4 p.m. is not 2 days. We count it on an hourly schedule. So actually only 4 p.m. Tuesday makes it exactly 1 day. Okay, so remember that. So sometimes people think like they're actually bleeding 7 days, but it's not really 7, it's 6, right? You have to count it hourly. The minimum amount of bleeding, the minimum amount of days one can have a period is for 3 days and 3 nights. And again, the hours is what counts. So 72 hours. If a person bled 3 days, but it was 71 hours or 70 hours, then that bleeding is not a period. It's what? It's istihada. She will have to make up those prayers that she missed. Okay, so hours mean everything. Anything less than 72 hours will not be considered a period, but istihada. If a woman has a period for less than 72 hours, they will have to make a wudu only to become pure again and make up all the salahs missed from when they first started to bleed. So if it was less than 72 hours and you want to just continue praying, you do not need to make a ghusl. You just have to do what? You just need to make wudu. Okay, that is only in the case if you bled less than the amount, not more than. The duration of tuhar, the pure days in between two periods, a woman must be clean for at least a minimum of 15 days before she considers her second bleeding as a period. Okay, so how much is at least she needs to be pure for at least 15 days. There is no maximum amount of days for one's tuhar. A woman can be clean for 2 months, 2 years, 2 or 5 years, okay? There's no maximum, but there is a minimum. If a woman begins to bleed before 15 full days of tuhar can pass, she will have to refer to her tuhar habit, right? So maybe her period, it ended and then it came back again 14 days later. 13 days later, what should she do? She has to look at her purity habit, which I will show you guys, inshallah. The maximum of haid. Now there's a maximum. The maximum amount of haid one can have a menstrual period is for 10 days and 10 nights, a total of 240 hours. So 241 hours, that is istihada. That 1 hour is istihada. 242 hours, those 2 hours are going to be counted as istihada. Okay? Can only be 10 days and 10 nights. Anything more than 240 hours will be considered will not be considered a period, but istihada. If a woman bleeds for more than 240 hours, she will have to refer back to her habit. Okay, guys? So what happens? Oh, okay. Stuck. All right. Okay, so we will look at that here. When does haid begin and when does it end? When do you consider it done? Or when do you consider it having begun? A period has been considered to begin as soon as it is seen. So not the timing wise, it's when you see it. Not when you feel it, when you see it. Okay, guys? Example, Kulthum woke up in the morning and saw blood at 7 a.m. She will consider her bleeding to have began at 7 a.m. Right? Because now if she woke up, she could have started bleeding 6 a.m., maybe even before that, maybe at nighttime. Who knows? She was sleeping. She has no idea. but it's not about when we think it happened. It starts when you see it. So if you saw it at 7 a.m., then you will have the timer start ticking from 7 a.m. when you saw it. Okay. One's period is considered to be finished as soon as the bleeding stops and the discharge is clear, right? That's when you know it's ended. If a woman sees she's about to end her period and falls asleep, right? It's like getting very light and she's going to sleep. She should wake up before Fajr to see if Fajr is binding, or sorry, not Fajr, to see if Isha is binding upon her. That's a mistake. 1 second here. So what should she do? The person they've fallen asleep, right? They're like about to finish, but it's like it's getting late. They need to go to bed, right? You can't stay up all night to check. So you go to sleep at about 10 p.m. You should wake up. Let's say, for example, Fajr comes in at like, I would say 4:30. I'm just assuming like 4:30. You should wake up at 4:10, 4:15 and check. Are you done? If it's clear at 4:15, that means you need to hurry up and make ghusl and pray Isha. Pray Isha, and then afterwards you can pray your Fajr when it comes in. Okay, does that make sense, everybody? Okay. If she falls yes, Bushra?
Sada, I have a question, a little
Yes.
personal, but so when like the period is about to end and it stays clear for a while, but then it comes back, what do you like? And like, I'm just like worried, like, should I wait, but then I risk, losing those prayers?
Mm-hmm.
Or if I should just make the ghusl and then pray, and then if it comes back, because that happens sometimes.
Yes. So what you would do is, to be on the safe side, always check if you have to pray at the end of every prayer. So like, for example, it's light now. You will check when maybe 15 to 20 minutes before Dhuhr ends. Then you go and check. If you see it's not clear, then okay, you're gonna leave out the Dhuhr because you cannot make your having to pray or like in order to avoid praying and then seeing it coming back again. Now sometimes that happens, girls, where it is clean for like hours, right? And then like after a couple of hours it comes back again. If that happens, then any prayer that you performed, let's say it was clean for a couple hours, so you prayed your Dhuhr Salah, but then it came back by Asr, it was back again. So then that Dhuhr, it didn't count, right? But that is only if it's all within the maximum, right? 10 days and 10 nights, right? So like say, for example, it's been only 7 days and now you prayed your Dhuhr, you were clean, Asr time it came back again. So what happens? That Dhuhr you prayed is not valid, and then you have to make a new ghusl in order to pray Asr or Maghrib when you become clean again. So if it comes back, don't say, I already made ghusl, that ghusl is valid. You will have to repeat your ghusl when you become clean again. Even if it's like a little bit that you see. Sometimes people just see like a dot or like a little bit of brown discharge. Okay, they will have to repeat that ghusl again. So yes, do check about 15 to 20 minutes at the end of every salah to see if you have to pray or not. Okay? Yeah.
Okay, sure. Jazakumullah khair.
Yeah.
The duration when you became clean, sorry, do you have to repeat that the whole period?
Yeah, you would have to you don't have to repeat that Dhuhr, sorry. That time we would consider as though you were still bleeding. Yes, you would not repeat it. Yes. Okay. All right. Okay.
Stada?
Yes.
So if you like notice that that happens like every month with you, so is it okay? Like when you think you're done and like clean, is it okay to wait because you know it might reappear?
So that's a good question, Kulsum. If you see that it is completely clear and it's the end of the salah time, right? So not in the beginning of the salah time, it's the end of the salah time and it's clear, then you actually have to go do a ghusl and you have to pray that salah, even though if before you've experienced it coming and going. Why? Because although the salah will become invalid if you spot again, but it was binding upon you to quickly make your ghusl and pray because you were clean. So you will be, of course, rewarded and things like that. But yes, we should not delay our prayer or even miss the prayer thinking that it's going to come back again. So once it's clear, you've checked it, it's 20 minutes, the salah is almost over, it's clean, you can make your ghusl and pray, you should do that. Okay?
Okay.
Yes. All right. So if she falls asleep and wakes up to see her pad is white, she will consider herself clean from the time she inserted the pad before sleeping and will have to make up her, again, this is a typo, would make up her Isha Salah. Okay, so example, Fatima went to sleep at 8 p.m. She put a new pad before going to sleep. When she woke up in the morning for Fajr Salah, she didn't wake up for earlier like how she's supposed to. She woke up for Fajr and she saw that her pad is completely white and clear. That means she was clean from 8 p.m. because she changed her pad at 8 p.m., right? Then she woke up in the morning at, let's say, 6 a.m. She will consider herself clean from 8 p.m. and she will have to make up her Isha Salah because Isha was binding upon her. Does that make sense, everyone?
Check during Isha.
You checked in Isha Salah, it was still bleeding or still spotting, but then you put in a pad before going to sleep and it was clean the whole time. Then you will actually consider yourself clean from the time that you put the new pad in. And then you will have to pray Isha because Isha was binding all the way up until 4:30 a.m., right? Yeah, she fell asleep. Okay. Okay. A woman should not delay her ghusl as it is a major sin. As soon as she sees she is clean, she must make ghusl and perform her salah. Okay, because sometimes what happens, you guys, people will miss so many prayers, right? And they're clean, they know they're clean, but Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha, and then tomorrow when they feel like making a ghusl, then they start praying, okay? That is not okay. This is actually a major sin, and we should not do that. Now that habit that we were talking about, what is a habit? Remember, girls, how do you make a habit? It's the amount of days of hayd and the amount of days of tuhur of your previous correct menstrual cycle, the month where there was no istihada. So how did we do that? There are two things to consider when keeping track of your habit: the date and amount of days you bled, and you should know the amount of days you were pure before you bled. This is called the tuhur period. You must always record and keep track of your period in a notebook or period app. A habit is formed if the month before it and the month after it was free of istihada. So you went 3 consecutive months with normal periods. There was no istihada in those 3 months. Then the month in the middle, that is your habit month. So let's say, for example, she'll consider the second month as her habit. So example, girls, February, March, and April. Fatima bled February, March, and April. There was no istihada in those 3 months. Okay? She bled normally. Each day in the month, let's say, for example, February, she bled 8 days. March, she bled 9 days. And then April, she bled 7 days. What is her habit? 7, 8, and then 9. Every month she bled 1 more day. So the month in the middle is what?
Her
So,
habit.
yeah, her habit. And how many days is her bleeding? How many days is her habit for bleeding? It's 8 days. Okay, because again, February she bled 7 days, March she bled 8, in April she bled 9. So if in May, the 4th month, she has istihada, she bled for 11 days. She has to go look at her habit now, right? She bled 11 days. So her habit is 8 days, right? So then she will consider only 8 days as her period and all the rest of the balance as istihada. Let me see if I could show you guys maybe like an example here. But do you guys remember that?
So, Ustada,
Yes.
um, if she bled 9 days, so it's still underneath the 10,
Mhm.
would that one day still be considered istihada?
No. If she bleeds 9 days, it's not istihada, right?
And then she just, okay.
Go ahead.
Then she just forms a new habit, right? With the next 3 months?
She will only form a new habit if she goes 3 more months without any istihada. Then the month in the middle, the 2nd month, will always be the habit month.
Yeah, so like if in May, if she bled 9 days, then would March, April, May be called those 3 months, and then the April one would be the habit?
April will be the habit, yes.
Okay.
Yes. But then now May, she bled, you know, a little bit extra. Her habit won't change. It's going to still be what's in April. But then let's say she goes May, June, July, and there's no istihada. Then now what? June is now her habit month. So
Okay.
it's always the last 3 months. You always have to look at the last 3 months. And then the month in the middle is going to be your habit month. So you
Okay.
always have to refer, yeah, last 3 months. Does that make sense, everybody? I'm trying to see if I can find my
Yes.
little calendar to show you guys again, right? But always remember, how do you form a habit? It's your last 3 months of haze where you did not experience any istihada in that month. I can't find the thing here. Okay. And the same thing is for your tuhur habit. The same thing. It's always gonna be the last 3 months, and you will look at the month in the middle. Let's see, let me show you guys a quick visual. Yes, Sister Sylvia, you have a question?
Yeah, Estella, so I have a sister who came and asked me a question about that she is using contraception and that's causing her bleeding. Is that bleeding considered paid or istihada?
I'm sorry, Sister Sylvia, you're actually it's actually not clear. Maybe you could put it in the chat.
Yeah, I'll write it.
Okay. Okay, yeah, because it's a little bit tough for me to hear. Sorry about that. Okay, so here's an example of the habit. Okay, girls? So yeah, February, March, and April. Okay, so February, how many days did this person bleed? 1, 2, 3, 4 days. Okay, remember, we were going to only count from the 2nd day as number 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, was there istihada there? No, and before it, she was all clean here, okay? All right, here we go. Here's the next month, March. She bled 1, 2, 3, 4 days again. Is that istihada? No, that's a correct bleeding. And then she was clean for at least 15 days before, so it looks good. Okay, everything looks good here. April, she bled 1, 2, 3, 4 days again. That's also okay. That's great. And she was clean before that for at least 15 days. So everything looks good in April too. So she will consider March is her habit month. So what is her habit for bleeding? It's 4 days. And what is her habit for tuhur? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. So 26 days is her tuhur habit and 4 days is her bleeding habit. Does that make sense, everyone? But now she looks at May. May, she bled like crazy here. She bled at about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 days. She bled 12 days here. That's istihada, correct? So now she has to refer back to her habit, and she will only consider her habit days as her bleeding, and the rest will be istihada. So 4 days is her habit. So she will say 1, 2, 3, 4. Up until the 7th was all haze, but 8th to 16th is all istihada. And she will have to make up all those prayers. She will not know this, girls, unless she bled over 10 days. Okay, so she's not sinful for missing all those prayers. She will only know this when she went over 10 days. I get this question a lot. People say, my habit is 4 days, but this month I bled 7 days. What should I do? Does she need to refer to her habit if she only bled 7 days? No, this is only when you go over what? Only when you go over 10 days. Now, let's say, for example, somebody bled 13 days later. 13 days of purity. What was her habit? I forgot, it was 26 days, right? Now she has to wait 26 days to consider any bleeding as her period. So 13th day came and she sees blood again after 13 days. She will keep praying until 26 days of purity. And if she sees any bleeding after 26 days of purity, then that will be blood, haze. Hormonal contraception and the bleeding is over 10 days. Is that bleeding still considered haze or istihada? Very good question, mashallah. So hormonal contraceptions, you will still use the ruling of the Islamic ruling of istihada and haid. Okay, so if she goes over 10 days just because she's using the hormonal pills, she will be considered as istihada still. So and then that's when she has to start using her habit days as her reference. Yes, Busha?
So, Ustada, if one goes over the 10 days, then, but you said in this example that 4 days is her habit. So the 6 days that are still like in the 10 days will also be considered istihada?
Will also be considered istihada, correct? Because why? She went over 10 days. So anything over the 4th day will be considered istihada.
But if she was under 10 days, then it would just be like a new.
Just a new, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it could be a new habit.
Okay. And then same thing for purity, right? So if she is like pure for more than 15 days, but her purity lasts like less than 26 days, but it's still over 15,
that's fine.
then whenever her bleeding starts would be her period, right?
Yeah, this could form a new habit potentially, and that's fine. Yes. Yes, so you will only use your habit if you're under 15 days purity or over 10 days bleeding.
Okay. Jazakumullah khairan.
My dear. Okay, there's a couple slides left, but inshallah we'll go over those last few slides inshallah next week. And I guess we will have some time to go over the fiqh study guide together and the the Arabic study guide together, and you guys will be really prepared for this test inshallah. Okay, jazakallahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.